Thank you very much for staying with us. And the conversation is solely based on security this morning. Security, security, and security. And definitely so. Strategy, is that what we call it? Is that what it is? Especially with the new development of the rejiggling of the security architecture in Nigeria, where some security chiefs have been replaced. In fact, three of them have been replaced, one retained, and of course, elevated to another rank that, came through communique, the statement released by the special advisor to the president on media and public communication, Sunday Dare, on Friday. And according to Dare, the president appointed General Olufemi Oluyede. He was formerly the chief of army staff, but now is the new chief of defense staff. He replaced General Christopher Musa. So General Olufemi Oluyede is the chief of defense staff right now. And the new chief of army staff is Major General W. Shaibu. He's now the chief of army staff, Major General W. Shaibu. And here, Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke is the new chief of air staff. The new chief of air staff, that's Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke. And while Rear Admiral I. Abbas is the new chief of naval staff. Real chief of naval staff is Rear Admiral I. Abbas. And the chief of defense intelligence is Major General E.A.P. Udende, Emmanuel Udende. He has retained his position as, the chief of defense intelligence, Major General E.A.P. Udende. He's the only one who retained his position, while General Oluyede was elevated as the chief of defense staff right now. And by the way, the president, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, expressed the most profound appreciation to the outgoing chief of defense staff, all of them, that's Christopher Musa and the other service chief, for their patriotic service and dedicated leadership. The statement further read and charged the newly appointed service chiefs to justify the confidence reposed in them by further enhancing the professionalism, vigilance, and comradeship that define Nigeria's armed forces. And all appointments take immediate effect. Now, it is not just about the announcement or the appointment. It's the fact that a week before that, there was a report of a coup scare, an attempted coup, in which the defense headquarters came out to say there is nothing like that. What happened was just some officers being questioned, maybe based on promotional concerns, challenges, dissents, and disciplinary issues and all of those things, and it's just normal. And so they are very committed actually to a democracy in Nigeria. And some are saying, who are they? Why didn't you say this before, actually, that this is happening, until Sahara reporters came up with that story? And some will say, okay, who are they? And some will say maybe some of them came from a particular section of the country. Who are these people? And people are just piecing up pieces of information together to know the identity of those persons. But now, just like 7 days after the reshuffling happened, and it was said to just be, furtherance of the efforts of the federal government of Nigeria to strengthen the national security architecture. But it seems some Nigerians are not pleased. They are saying, what is the government covering? Why is this happening at this time? And some even said, look at it. The 65th anniversary of Nigeria, on October 1, the March parade and all of those fanfare was cancelled. And some are saying because there are information or rumor that maybe something untoward was being planned during the March past. These are still rumors, but then it's our duty to look at these issues for the public good. And this morning we are being joined by security analyst Deyemi Saka to have his mind on the recent happening. By the way, we can't shy away from the fact that there are security challenges. Everyone, and the thing is not really looking good, especially with these bandits running riots, criminals terrorists, running havoc. Even they, as they have been neutralized, as being said by the Nigerian military, they are still wreaking havoc. They are being killed. They are still raising their ugly heads. And maybe that's why the president is restructuring, for better output and result. Deyemi Saka joins us virtually. Good morning, Mr. Saka. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good morning, Femi. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you. This is the reality as of today. So what do you think about this development? Because ordinarily, when your country tells you in a patriotic society, in a very, regular way of thinking, if my country tells me this is it, normally, patriotic part of me should believe. But some Nigerians are saying, we are seeing beyond what is happening. And some are saying, don't piece together what is not even there. This rejiggling and reshuffling is normal. Just let it be. What we need is a result that will be very obvious. What do you think? Do you think it's a systematic and strategic, decision from the government, or you think it has something to do with the coup scare, or is a bit of both?
Well, whether we like it or not, either we want to say there was an attempted coup or not. Well, the grievance, or one of the grievances being put forward by the soldiers or personnel detained is stagnation of career. And it will be insincere of any personnel in the armed forces to blame that on the present administration. We had this problem, and this problem was created by the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. The retention of the service chiefs and even bringing people outside the service to head some paramilitary agencies caused stagnation of careers of a lot of senior officers. In the army, there were a lot of people that should have been decorated promoted to the rank of a brigadier general, and their one-star awards have you. They couldn't do that because there was a Bratai, Olone Shaki, and the rest. Sadiq Abubakar. When these guys moved, they were just not moving. They were not creating a lot of directorates to pacify a lot of people. And instances, Adeosun, Lieutenant General Adeosun from Osun State, should have been the chief of army staff at some point. But because Bratai was there, he couldn't attend that scene. And that was why they created what he headed the director of whatever education till he left the army. So, whether we like it or not, and the strategic appointment of a major general as the chief of army staff is deliberate. So whether you like it or not, a lot of people that their career have been stagnated and everything will be eased out of the army, and it's now bring about a reset in the army. When after you've done your senior div, you don't spend 3, 4, 5 years. I had someone that has written a promotional exams. For the past 2 years, she's avant-garde, she'd have been promoted to a wing commander, from a squadron leader. But she can't. Because there's a backlog, and government is a continuous, arrangements, and you inherit the assets and the liabilities. And one of the liabilities that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inherited from former President Muhammadu Buhari. But it is insincere and I say this without me trying to play the tribal card, it is insincere for any military officer of the northern extraction to lay complaint, and even the political class to complain about such things, because they were criminally silent when their own was causing this havoc on us, or making this havoc on us. In the 8 years of presidency of Muhammadu Buhari, you hardly find promotion from the state directorate of the DSS to national headquarters, because somebody was brought out of the system to head the DSS. Same with the customs. The CG customs is a rank. It's not an appointment, it's a rank. The customs is a regimented service. You brought somebody so whether you like it or not, the highest anybody in the customs could get to in 8 years is the Deputy Controller General of Customs. Rather than being a CG of customs, because it's a promotional thing. So, Muhammadu Buhari, I'm not trying to shred his legacy or because he's dead. Muhammadu Buhari was just a strong man in office, the perception of a strong man, but destroyed or weakened our institutions. And the worst is the sixth case, the military and the paramilitary. Same thing with immigration. You don't mess up. You don't because of your narrow-mindedness or limited knowledge or interaction among Nigerians now mess up careers of hundreds of persons. It's unfair.
So, Mr. Saka, how is that connected to what is happening now?
Yeah, I said it because that's why I said the appointment of a major general as a chief of army staff was strategic. So a lot of people that hung the major general before him, his seniors will have to go on retirement unless they are comfortable with paying compliments to their junior. They probably want to take appointments at the DHQ. A lot of few lieutenant generals or senior generals, well, you see, service year number counts.
Yeah.
That's the rank, that's the seniority. So the people that got to the rank of a major general before him, either 6 months before, 1 year before, will have to go on compulsory retirement.
Yeah.
And that clears out the backlog of dissatisfied personnel, officers that they move on to the next track, or that felt they could have gotten to, even that could have been a chief.
All right. So I made a research and I got some a particular report where some persons are saying this new development actually, and maybe looking at the trajectory that might not be helpful in the future, because they believe with what has happened there might be maybe some young ranking officers that this particular development might have taken out actually, and that we're losing maybe those that are generals that are still younger that might not get a shot, or possibly just like what you said, the moment a particular officer in whatever rank is promoted as the most senior, even those ahead of him in service, definitely they must go on retirement, because definitely your allegiance might be questionable, so you just have to retire. Now, that is one concern, and some feel in the rank, there are some persons that are maybe younger and they are ranking, but this current upgrading or elevation, like, for example, the former army general is now the chief of the French staff, so anybody around that ilk definitely will have to go, and we have another, other persons being the new chief of air staff, naval staff, and all of those things. Do you, and basing it from where you are coming from, do you think it's just President Bola Ahmed Tinubu regularizing whatever I think has been unfair in the past, or is just himself as the CNC doing whatever he thinks he needs to do?
No, I think it's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu addressing a very pertinent, important, critical question and resolving a very knotty issue. These appointments will clear the backlog with all of you that has given us this headache of promotional days and days and days. I beg, just we ease out of the system.
But that would be unfair.
I want to give you another instance.
That would be unfair. It will have taken many people out.
2016, thereabout.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Okay, I think we've lost that connection. We'll try and reconnect. Right, we'll try and reconnect with him, because it's a lot that we are dealing with, at this time. Because when you talk about security, some will say regime stability is one thing, especially those at the national level in which they wouldn't want to play with. That is one thing. Is it really about regime change? I mean, regime stability, because there is that angle as well. Mr. Saka is saying that is just Mr. President trying to address some grievances or some irregularities in promotions, of ranking officials in the past. But now, this is what you are seeing. We'll try and reconnect, but, we'll take a quick break. right now. The program will continue. We have so much to unpack because the military of any nation can never be joked with. They have to be comfortable. They have to be supported. They have to be well taken care of. All right. Right. We'll try and reconnect with him. But right now, all right, we'll go on a break. And when we come back, we'll speak to these issues further. Stay with us.
And one, his murderers are yet to be apprehended till today. Western Spring Television identifies Bola Ige as a watershed character.
Thank you for staying with us. And of course, we are talking about the decision of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to rejig, the military architecture in Nigeria. The security chiefs, where the new Chief of Army Staff is now General W. Shaibu. The new Air Vice Marshal is now S.K. Aneke. Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke is the Chief of Air Staff, while Rear Admiral I. Abbas is the new Chief of Naval Staff, and the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General EAP Udende, retains his position. And of course, General Olukolade is now the Chief of Defense Staff as well. And Nigerians are, trying to connect if this is just a systematic and strategic decision by the government. The government has said is to strengthen is resolve, and of course to strengthen the national security architecture. Just before, like last 1 week, there was a rumor of a coup scare, in fact, in which they said that was the reason, by newspaper reports, several reporters, that was the reason why the parade, that's supposed to be part of the funfair celebrating Nigeria's 65th anniversary, had to be cancelled so that something dastardly would not happen in that place. The defense headquarters came out to say there's nothing like that. Only some officers are being questioned based on promotional issues, dissent, and disciplinary issues, and that's just it. But Nigerians are saying, the proverbial analogy around there that the witch cried yesterday, the child has died his money. Can't you see the connect? And of course, we spoke, and we will still be speaking with a security analyst, Deyemi Saka. Thank you for staying with us, Mr. Saka.
Yeah, it's nice to be back, huh? All
right, and of course we have been joined by, a former Director of Information, former Director of Defense Information in Nigeria, Major, General Chris Olukolade. Thank you for joining us, General. It's good to have you again. Been a while.
Thank you so much. Good having you this morning.
All right, let me continue. Let me start with General. And that is, Nigerians are divided. And I need your opinion on this. Yeah, once a soldier, always a soldier. I understand that part. But you are no more in khaki right now. You are, as Nigerian as the rest of us right now, maybe, safely to speak. But then Nigerians are torn. Do you really think there was a coup scare? Let me put it to you, sir.
Well, all I will know about this will be what I hear in the news. And from my interaction with him, every information within this regard is either woolly or exaggerated to the best. I think that it's not easy to cover up a coup. And for anyone to imagine that the system will be trying to cover it up, I think sooner or later the truth will come out. Maybe that should be my position for now, but officially and by my interaction with the system, I have not got sufficient confirmation to be able to make something.
All right. Hope you are still with us, General.
On this issue.
All right. Because some Nigerians are saying...
I'm still with you.
Okay. The thought of many Nigerians is this, that this democracy is our democracy. No to military coup, no to military takeover. Whatever challenges we are having, we'd rather stay this way and work it out. So many Nigerians are saying, no, we are not in support of that, and that's our position. But if something untoward has happened, Nigerians deserve the right to know. It should not be covered up. Or if there was an attempt by some people to think that, don't you think that would be fair of Nigerians to say, we support this democracy, but if something that serious has happened, we deserve to know? General.
Well, from all indications, like my earlier response was not clear, but if I'm clearer now...
Yes, please go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I will repeat what I said earlier. I said from my interaction with the system lately, I don't have sufficient information to confirm the reality of these claims. Much of what we get is what we read in the newspapers and in the media. But from all indications, I can deduce that a coup is not easy to cover up. Sooner or later, it will ooze out, because whoever is being accused, they have families, they have relations that would make their plight known somehow. So I, at the moment, would not want to join it.
All right. I think we have some connection issues there. We'll try and fix. We'll try and fix that. But while we do that, let me go to Mr. Deyemi Saka. You just heard the general say what he knows, with the information he has. He can't confirm or deny that, because a coup is a very serious thing, and which sooner or later we will get to know. The families will get to speak, and all of those persons. But do you think, in your own assessment, that maybe there were some moves, but it was only curtailed very early?
Well, I will say this to you. It's like General said, with all due respect to his knowledge and everything, he got it right, whether we like it or not. At the end of the day, the truth shall be known to everybody. And whether we like it or not, if there was a coup scare and there was an attempted coup, we don't expect the army to, or the defense headquarters to rush out to public and make a pronouncement. For the mere fact that the rumors is flying around there, and trust me, the DMI will be on its toes. They'll be working around the clock. Investigation will be on, and it's at the point when an SIP is constituted. That is when someone like me will say, yes, there was indeed a coup attempt, and there was indeed probably a plan in place that was followed. And I understand the caution of the DHQ. To some of us that were not too young, but not old enough, but not too young to follow the DR coup, and a lot of revelations at the Twitter panel. A lot of us realized that there was a coup within a coup, or there was an attempt within an attempt. While DR was flying his own agenda, Bamayi was allegedly also flying his own agenda. So that might be the situation on ground. And you cannot, if you rush out to public to make a pronouncement, you are cutting off the links, and all those people, other persons involved, to start burning links to them that would reveal their complicity or their involvement or level of involvement or degree of evidence, to find to indict them of complicity. So the silence, the professional let me say, the information management in place is to avail the relevant investigative authorities and agencies, either the DI, the DMI, and naval intelligence, to come up with, collaborate together, even the NSA's office, and come up with a report, which at the end of it, I believe there was a coup attempt, there will be an SIP that will be instituted, right. And after the SIP, there probably will be, maybe they'll have to face a court martial.
All right. Now, let me go back to General. I hope you can hear me clearer now. General Olukolade.
It looks clearer.
Okay, all right.
I'll sustain this.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Now,
but if my last response came through, yeah.
Okay, you have been at the highest level of managing information for the Nigerian defense before. So that's what I'm asking you. As you have said, like whatever you are saying is what you have seen from the public space. I dare say, I want to safely say that most likely you know more than the rest of us as far as information management at the defense headquarters is concerned. But, a coup is a serious matter. Now, I want to ask you this morning, General, at this time, economic challenges, some political high voltage kind of operation that we operationalize in Nigeria and concerns 2026, 2027, some of those things on one side. From the outside, how about the inside? Because there have been rumor of dissent, there have been rumor of some persons not having the deserved promotion at the highest level. Could that be a reason? Or in fact, let me ask, why should anyone, either at the military level, inside that, or at the outside level, want to contemplate something like that in 2025? Why do you think so?
Well,
all right, General, if you can hear us. Oh my. All right. We'll try and maybe get other sources or platform to speak to General this morning, because we must just do that now. Let me come to I was almost saying General Saka. Okay, maybe not now.
I should have been in the military, but okay. I opted out.
All right, Mr. Deyemi Saka, the same question. Why do you think anyone would want to contemplate that, something as serious as that, in a nation like Nigeria, 236 million people? We are not Mali, we are not Burkina Faso, we are not Niger. This is Nigeria.
I came up with a post that anybody coming up with a coup, especially if the person is from the northern extraction, is going to plunge the country into a civil war because of the kind of the democracy we practice, rotational presidency.
Why do you keep saying from a section of the country? Do you have a list?
I'll tell you why. Because of the rotational presidency or written rotational presidency we operate. I'm not making an excuse. The best time to have done anything, any military intervention, which I'm not in support, but the time that it could have been accepted was even before May 29, 2023. Because the election of 2023 had the same ingredients as 1993 general elections. The country was polarized, it was divided, and it was looking as if it was going to end. It was heading towards the same conclusion as June 12, 1993 elections. Once that window was closed, and this administration scaled it, we cannot plan a coup again. Let us backtrack to 1965. There was a coup in Nigeria, led by Kaduna Isiogwu. The coup was, at the end of its execution, seemed sectional, because the senior military officers of northern extractions were killed, the military officers of the western extractions were killed. Only Igbo senior officers and political class were spared, even if that was not the intention of the executioner or the main executioner of the coup. Now look at the end of that coup, there was a counter coup, Aguiyi. But Aguiyi, when he got into power, he removed Ojukwu from the command control communication structure of the military and made him an governor of Eastern Nigeria. So when there was a counter coup, it was reported that Brigadier Ogundipe at Ikeja gave an order to a private in the army, and the private told him to his face that he can't take instructions, so that he wouldn't take instructions from Gowon. And that was how the man left because after the assassination or the killing, or probably, the attempt on Ogundipe should have been the head of state. But because he saw that I couldn't give, as widely reported, an account we read, that I couldn't give a private of a northern extraction and instructions to follow, he rather want to stay alive. And that brought Gowon into office. And that led to the civil war because of ego, because Ojukwu felt he was a senior officer, he was a higher ranking officer, he should be the head of state, not Gowon, but wasn't in the command structure. Push it back to 1998 when General Sani Abacha died. General Sani was the highest ranking officer by rank. But he wasn't in the command structure, it was just the FCT minister, was a lieutenant general. But the highest ranking officer, according to the structure, was Abdul Salam. And that's how he became the head of state. So, now being related to the attempt, if you make an attempt on a Yoruba president, and the arrowhead of the coup are northerners, or is a northerner, do you think the southerners in the army or the military will fold their hands and let it fly when it seems their own person is doing better than when your son was there? Because whether we like it or not, there's the least qualified, and I'm saying this with all sense of decency and patriotism, the least qualified candidate on the ballot in 2023 general election for the office of the presidency is 10 times better than President Muhammadu Buhari. So if we could, as a nation, survive, tolerate, indulge because of the delicate balance, we don't want to upset it. You cannot plan it. Like I was with a former governor of a northern state, and I told him, I said, sir, if there should be any opposition for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027 or the middle of 2027, it should be led by Southerners. And he said, yes, it is true. Because of the unless, and we both agreed unless God says otherwise. Same to say if there is any, because a military intervention is a silly attempt. If there's going to be a silly suicidal attempt on his presidency, for it to sit well with Nigerians, for it to look as if it is brothers beating brothers, it should be led by Southerner.
All right.
Or else you are trying to plunge the country into a civil war, because there will be counter coups and counter things, and the country will break down. So if you think you love this country, that your career stagnated is not enough to throw the country under the balls of set the country on fire.
Right.
Moreover, the stagnation in careers of a lot of people and the bias. I was going to drive at something during President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. There was a recruitment into the DSS. Adamawa State alone had more intakes than the Southeast and Southwest combined. Now, if another administration is coming in now, whether you like it or not,
right,
5-6 years down the line, those sets will be the potential DG of DSS.
Right.
So after one person from that place, because it's seniority. Now, in a case to balance it now, let me now see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu now says, okay, now let Southern Nigeria have more intakes than the Northerners. They'll be crying bigotry or nepotism, but it's balancing.
All right. Yeah.
The wrongs.
Kindly hold on. I understand we have General back now via the phone. General, I hope you can hear me, sir.
Yeah, clear now.
Thank you.
I think better now.
Very much. At least half bread is better than pop-off. That's what they say in Nigeria. All right. Yeah. I was going to ask you that, okay, you have said, as far as information that you have is concerned, you can't confirm or deny that now, but who is a very serious thing? Either it's successful or it was just attempted, time shall tell. But now, the question I asked, before the each was this. Either in the military, in which we have been hearing of career stagnation, some voices of dissent, some persons feeling, okay, possibly they have not been promoted the way they are, and I'm talking about senior officers, with the benefit of inside information. That's number one from the military angle. from the political angle in 2025, okay, economic instability, poverty, and all of those things, or politics, we don't want this person, the person that we want. Why do you think anybody will want to attend a coup in a country of 236 million? You know, that's our nation. That's what the vice president said at the United Nations General Assembly just a month ago. Why will anybody contemplate that in 2025?
Listening to the remarks of Deyemi a while ago, I found it very interesting, although I may not be able to go that far.
Yeah.
Those analyses are interesting, but before the hitches, one thing I was trying to make very clear is that who has become completely unfashionable both within the military and outside the military. The present military command dictators have good understanding of the need for democracy to be allowed to thrive and to give it all the support. So in the first place, it's completely odd for anyone to contemplate it, and the chances are very, very slim. And to that extent, you see cannot put people who have odd things. The important thing is that the likelihood of success is extremely slim. And in that situation, either for a brainwave or for whatever, you cannot rule out the possibility of anybody making an attempt, no matter how unreasonable. So, to that extent, it would be strange to see anybody contemplating it now or even working it out. The odds against it so much, the level of understanding within the military and the disposition to preference for democracy is so high that officers that have such thought in their mind will know, if they want to be reasonable, that the chances are extremely slim no matter the approach.
Right.
At least in Nigeria, that we can say. We cannot compare the disposition of other militaries in Africa. Our sophistication in Nigeria also affects the thinking of officers to the extent that they know the value of democracy. And it's not likely that they will give into any tendency to upset it.
All right.
All other belief will be strange. I relate this, at the risk of taking over, I relate this to a situation which happened when I was in service, and similar questions were asked when people were led to be involved in mutiny. Our disposition then was that, well, we will not make a comment on this until we are sure, because mutiny is not a thing you can easily allege. Any service person knows the implication of mutiny. And therefore the civilian media throwing away terminologies, throwing about terminologies could be of interest and interesting for sensational reasons. But we must be careful to either endorse it and later start receiving it until a good investigation has confirmed that such a thing actually happened. So this will be the situation for now. And I believe that by the time the system is through with confirming it, nobody will want to hide it. The public will get to it. But be sure that just as it is not fashionable with the general public, so is it not fashionable within the Nigerian military.
All right, because antecedent is one thing that, one we easily reckon with and reckon to refer to, rather, because like 10, 15 years ago, there was the Arab Spring. Just because some concerns, you start from a nation, and then Tunisia, Egypt, and all of those places, were ravaged by the Arab Spring. Now, fast forward to like 2-3 years ago, then Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, some of those are brother nations started having interventions of the military, and that's why some are saying if Nigerians are really talking about maybe the government of the day has really done well economically or not. I remember just after the election, and there were some concerns, controversies. Some people went to the street. In fact, they went in front of the defense headquarters to say, please come and take over. We don't want this person and all of those things. And some might say maybe those agitations are still not yet down. Now, what we can lay our hands on is either right now there are some persons still fueling it from the part of the civilians and from within. You talked about the mutiny in 2014, the one that happened in Maiduguri, which some officers, you can see a BBC report here that said 16th of September 2014, 12 Nigerian soldiers sentenced to death for mutiny. And I remember, you just said it as well, when this thing comes out like this, the defense information, of which you've managed information yourself, will try and manage the information. So some have called for that, like 2 years ago. Let the military take over, although that's not fashionable. Western Spring Television, everybody, we never subscribe to that. But do you think there are still some maybe subtle call movement that still wants, there are some that will feel, okay, maybe a military intervention will set things right. Do you think maybe there are still some quiet voices like that?
Definitely, some voices will always be there. And like I said, no matter how unreasonable, the odd voices, odd thoughts, we want to also feature along with all other voices. And it's not unlikely that they have their thought. You mentioned the Arab Spring a while ago. Mm-hmm. And people even connect the Arab Spring to the NSAS defense in Nigeria, right, as something similar. Mm. But you could see that Nigeria was able to manage its own and get out of it, such that that trend could not catch up with us. I hope I'm not being too optimistic, but whatever, anyone with insight into the thinking of the average military officer at the moment will know that a coup has no place of success. And there's no need, trying it, no matter the influence. The suicide is not worth it. I call it suicide because, one, it will fail, and what's the essence of trying what will not succeed? And that's why I'm certain that much as I'm careful to adopt the position that Yemi mentioned earlier, the sophistication within the military has rendered the possibility of sailing a coup, like those days when you could say, gentlemen, we are taking this government, and everybody will follow. It's not easy to do a similar thing now in terms of the psychology of the officers. And that's one, it only leads to more chaos. But, it's left for the system to know how to manage. There's even chaos of riot here and there. But has it been able to affect the system? I don't think such can have its way any longer. And I wish that Nigeria would not think that the Nigerian military is as cool as some others that are comparing them with. All right. Due respect and decency. Thank you.
Yeah. If I get you right, you said you hope Nigerians will know that the Nigerian military is not as crude as those they are comparing them with. You're talking about Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I want to be as modest as possible without sounding, disrespectful of other armies. But we know ourselves in terms of the level of exposure and education that exists within the Nigerian military. We should not even be compared with people who can see, and even our society in the same way. So we are close apart.
All right. Mr. Saka, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard General. And so, why do you think Nigerians are finding it difficult to believe the government? And that's the crux of the matter for me this morning. That if the nation has come out to say, nothing like that has happened, we are good, just some officers that are being questioned for a different purpose, why do you think some Nigerians are saying, no, there is more than meets the eye?
You see, it is sad, and I tell people, it is so sad.
And whose fault?
Yeah, that's what I'm driving. It is so sad that on the altar of politics, because for me, General might not recognize, but probably I was a known critic of President Goodluck Jonathan, especially when it comes to security. I was writing independent intelligence analysis, I was bashing the military and what have you. And I got some spanking, verbal spanking for my activities, not directly, but a general one to all of us that were doing that back then. But it doesn't stop us from loving the country. I think they understood that it was out of passion and love for the country that we're doing those things, not to destabilize the country. It is so annoying, the kind of opposition we have in Nigeria, that we've had 2023 elections. You've lost. 2023 elections, I was not a fan of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I campaigned against PDP in 2015, but not necessarily campaigned for Buhari. But at 2016, I was criticizing him daily. It was like that was what I was living for. Till 2019, 2023. So there was no way I could support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he came with the Muslim ticket. But whether we like it or not, we were done with an election. Electioneering period is over. It's now time for governance. We should stop the rhetorics or the kind of conversation we had pre-elections during governance. That is, they're just creating, they are just deepening the mistrust for the government among Nigerians.
You are putting these on the doorstep of the opposition.
Yes, because the kind of, there's not, if the government has been portrayed bad in every steps and actions, even when the government is doing things right, it will be seen to still be, nobody will believe it.
The thing is, the government of the day, do you think the government of the day is doing well? That's the question.
I will tell you something, and this is you giving me a window to jump at it. A lot of us has been saying that, I tell people as a matter of fact, I don't need to know the sponsors of terrorism or banditry. I don't even need to see them in court. So general may understand why I'm saying this. Just neutralize them. There's a way you neutralize them. I don't even want them to go to trial. Neutralize them and we know we've dealt with the threat. A lot of people are not being strategic. The floating of the Naira, whether we like it or not, has cut funding to insurgents or terrorism. Because there's no free dollars for them to spend. If Malami could attempt to link fund of terrorism with a Bureau change with Sunday Igboho, then we could as well say the Bureau change activities in Nigeria is a major source of funding for terrorism. And now that the subsidy has been removed, that is responsible for the madness you see from those guys, because the fund is not there, so they are going to on a massive kidnapping spree to raise money to sustain the life and the mentality they have in the bush or whatever in their operation organizations.
All right.
Mr.
Deyemi.
But the major demarketing of this whole process of achievement, it's more, and I've been saying now, is the NSA.
Wow.
Now, an instance is in Ondo State. I'm coming, let me just round up. In Ondo State,
1 minute.
The DSS has done its job. They got an intel, they analyzed, they evaluated, and came up with a security warning, which I believe will be forwarded to the DSS office. Yes. But to the NSA office. The NSA, because in counterterrorism studies or the first level of counterterrorism, you see it, whatever, they tell you that you need the media to inform your public of terrorist attack, imminent terrorist attack, and what they are expected to do, and how they can help you foil it. Have you seen any such bulletin or message or anything from the NSA's office? They're feeling like a secret society. Like, no, this thing, we need to, so as much as the government is doing so much, its information managers are not doing so well. For me, I will tell you, the floating of the Naira has cut funding to terrorism. But is the government saying it? No. Is it my job to say it for them? No. I'm not on its payroll, but I'm a Nigerian. When I say what is right, I will say it. Under this administration, I was critical of former President Goodluck Jonathan.
All right.
But after he left office, I knew what the mercenaries did in Borno, that they created a buffer zone around Sambisa, and they were going to clear them out. But what happened? One man came in out because of ego. We are dealing with banditry in Northwest, kidnapping and banditry in North Central.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let me stay with, thank you, Mr. Deyemi. Let me stay with General. General, are you still with me?
I'm with you.
All right. Now, away from this Coup thing, which you have spoken of largely and spoken about. I'd like to ask you, are you bothered? Are you embarrassed, General? And I'm using my word carefully this morning, that in the past 2 years, and especially in the past 3 months, the war against, some of your guys, when I mean your guys, I mean many uniform, because of course you're out of service, but I'm sure for life, your legends will still be with the boys in uniform. We have seen army bases overrun, army checkpoint overrun. I'm not even talking about checkpoint, army bases overrun, captains taken out, colonels taken out by these bandits. And some are saying, what's going on? What audacity does these criminals, these bandits, what audacity do they have that they will take off from their bush, from their cave, and come and overrun Nigerian army bases? What is going on? Nigerian army, because you're one of them before, are we losing steam? Are we now that so weak that these guys can just give a go at us and they will overrun? Is that the Nigerian army that you joined, General?
Well, ordinarily this would look very disturbing indeed. But can I let you know that the trend is not new? This is a matter we've been struggling with for over a decade now. And the reason, I mean, the pattern has been the same. They come in this shape, appear to be having success, maybe with a new approach. And the tendency, I will already to explain it at the outcome of asymmetric dimension of the war. But that the system is able to cope and recover from every system, from every terrorist strategy, is one thing we should commend the military for. It's really not new. The pattern, either it looks seasonal or whatever, when they have been able to get sufficient money to get new weapons, they come in this kind of dastardly behavior that shocks people, create one tension here and there. They are contained. Once they be contained, everywhere looks normal. Yeah, General,
if I may come in as much you have said, more than a decade, there's always their pattern. Sometimes they regroup and then overrun. Now, the question is, in as much that's a pattern, isn't that even concerning that we are supposed to have studied that pattern for more than 10 years, know how they strike? What has happened to military intelligence, for us to prevent? Because I'm concerned, Nigerians are concerned, losing captains, losing colonels every now and then. In as much as we have established a pattern, can't we prevent and neutralize these guys? I'm not even talking about the general attack on the people. I'm talking about overrunning of bases. In as much as there is a pattern, we should be working on that, isn't it?
Yeah, when we say a pattern, it doesn't have to follow the same approach each time. We're talking of a step up in the daring approaches in different manners. And I associate this with when they are able to get either some monies or supplies or support to try a new approach. And such approach have always ended up being contained, and they go back to drawing board. Yes, there is intelligence, and the intelligence efforts have never been, been stopped. It continues to influence operations, and that's even why I think many things that are contained are not known to the public. It is when it fails once in a while like this that it appears the intelligence system is not working.
Yeah, two more questions for you, sir, before I allow you to go. Number one is this: can't we be ahead of these people? Why are we always containing? Because you have used that word severally. Why are we always containing? Does it appear, let me use my word carefully now, why does it appear like we are containing them? Now, when we contain them, then they go 2-3 steps forward. Can't the Nigerian military be the one ahead of them, that before they do that, we are not only containing their onslaught, but we are rooting them off our lands? Can't we do that?
Yeah, I don't think you got me perfectly right.
Okay.
What I was saying is that the new approaches are contained. Definitely, but I have a belief, and I'm convinced that in at least over 80%, at least in over 80% of the moves of the terrorists, the intelligence system of Nigerian government, government agencies, is ahead.
Right.
It's only when it fails once in a while like this, and it looks as if nothing is going on.
All right.
Were you aware of it? It's not likely that you'll be aware of many, many incidents that have been, forestalled because the intelligence are ahead.
All right.
Yeah, and I can assure you that lately, at least, the intelligence have been stepped up in terms of technology to cope and overcome this.
Thank you, General.
Only when it fails once in a while like this, and this is the nature of war. This is the nature of war, and in a peculiar war such as this.
All right.
Unfortunate as it seems, it's to be expected.
Yeah, we have to go, but if I may have a parting shot, and the parting shot will be: do you think the Nigerian military, Air Force, the Navy, the Army, do you think they are well equipped, well supported, very importantly, well motivated, to really win this battle going on? Do you think they are? 2025.
Well, I'm not sure I got what you were saying, right?
Yeah, what I'm saying is this current war against insurgency, do you think the Nigerian military is mobilized and they are motivated enough to win this battle?
Well, this is relative, but from the effort and the successes so far,
right? I
think they have the capacity to, end it. And you must know that one vision of terrorists is that the war will never end. If you listen to Coup in his lifetime, he kept saying that even if we kill him, after him it will continue. They live on this. And terrorism has become global.
All right.
Global in the sense that there's a network of them across nations. And it's left for every nation to know how to contain them and forbid them within its own territory.
All right.
I don't want to join in indicting the efforts in Nigeria. It may sound patronizing on my part, but that's by virtue of
all right, General.
Of what's going on.
Thank you very much, former Director of Defense Information, Nigeria, General Chris Olukolade. Thank you for your time, sir. It's always exciting to speak with you.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we want to say kudos to all the men and women in uniform for doing a great job. And of course, we want to task them to do better. Thank you, General, for your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. And this will be the size of the program. We must especially thank Mr. Deyemi Saka, security analyst, who spoke with us, earlier on this program. This nation is ours, and trust us to always speak truth to power and say it as it is. The motto of Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Have a nice day, and please do everything to stay alive.